everyone, this is Leah from Palm and Grace, and today I'm going to show you all the updates that I made to my wedding planner spreadsheet. A few months ago, I launched the very first version of the spreadsheet, but then I realized there were some features that I had left out that I really wanted to add in. This video is going to go through all the things I've added, and I'm so happy with how these changes have modified the spreadsheet. I truly hope you love it. And of course, if you haven't grabbed a copy of this spreadsheet yet and you would like to, I'll leave a link in the description box below so you can grab it. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. One of the very first changes that I added is on the Start tab, and essentially what I did here is I just changed some of the categories and their locations to fit the other changes that I've made in the spreadsheet. One of these changes is this meal options area where I've changed the number of meal options down to 4, which I think should be totally fine. If you choose to do a plated dinner, I think that you'll have enough space here to add in your meal options. And remember, if you're having kids and you're offering a kids meal, you'll want to add that in as well. But if you don't have any specific meal options or you're doing a buffet instead, you can just leave this section blank. The next section that I added is the save the date and invite types, which I'm really excited about, and I'll show you more about this later on. The 3 categories that I recommend are physical, digital, and other, but you can modify them to fit your needs. And if you need any reminders of this, I've noted them right down here. In the overview tab, I've not made many changes as well, but I did add in the new tabs into this table of contents sidebar, which has extended it a little bit longer, so I added in these cute watercolor flowers as well. And these are just for decor. Next, for the guest list tab, I've changed a tiny bit here. For the most part, this area is the same, but what I did add in is the type of save the dates and invites. This is something that I wanted to add in based on what I needed while I was filling this out for my own wedding, because for my save the dates, for example, we were thinking of doing some digital and some physical, and I wanted a way to count that. So that's what I've added into the spreadsheet. For the save the dates and invite section, you'll see a column with the type where you can select from the drop down the type of save the date or invite that you're choosing. At the top, you'll see total counts of this for each, but other than this, the guest list and the invites area function as normal. The other change that I've made to this tab is in the thank you section, and I've just made it easier to read the lines where you do have a gift. So if I were to add in a gift like, let's just say, popcorn machine here, that entire row will highlight slightly darker so you can tell, okay, I need to write a thank you for this. Now, as I was sitting with this tab, I realized that it might be a little complicated to have the thank yous as part of this tab. So one of the other changes that I made to the spreadsheet is I actually added in a separate thank yous tab, which looks like this. Now you can totally choose to use the thank yous part of this guest list tab, but if you want to keep it separate and you just want to add things in as you go and not have to search or filter for certain names, you can absolutely do it over here. And this is probably what I'm going to use myself for my own wedding. This tab is super straightforward, but it should help you to organize all your gifts and writing and sending thank you notes. All you need to do is write in who your gift is from. This can be a single name, multiple names, it can be a family, however you want to write it. Any cash amount, any gift card amount, and then you can track whether you've written and sent the thank you cards. And of course, as you check off these areas here, the percentages and the numbers up here will automatically update. The next tab that I modified is the seating chart tab. As you can see here, this is the older version, so quite a bit has been changed. However, I'm really excited about these changes. In the new version, there is a more zoomed out interface so you can see more at once, and you can also scroll up and down to see the different tables. I figured this layout would be much better than just having to scroll to the left or to the right and then up and down to find different names, so I'm really excited for this change. Another big change to this tab is that I've added in the meal options to automatically appear. Now again, if you're not having any specific meal options, you can still select the names as normal and you'll just have that blank column. So for example, if I select Jessica Brown, it now shows that she's been added to a table, and it shows the table number, and it adds in her food choice, which is fish. And then at the bottom, it shows the total counts of meals per table and the number of accommodations if needed, which is based on if anything has been added into the food accommodations column. The reason that I added this is for my own wedding venue, I need to know exactly who is seated where and what food they've ordered. So I know some different wedding venues probably do it differently, but my hope is that if you have a wedding venue like mine, or just a wedding venue where you need to know the total counts at each table, then this tab will make it so much easier. And of course, you can sort and filter your guests over here just like normal. I also just wanted to remind you that in my full wedding planner video that I filmed with the original launch of this spreadsheet, it goes way more in depth of how to use each of these tabs. So for example, in the other video, it explains that if you have duplicates, they'll show here so that you know not to place the same person at more than one table. I also note that you can change the number of people seated at each table just like this. And one last quick note about this tab is that this section down here and this column, which are slightly darker, are completely automated, so you don't need to input any information into these tabs. The full view seating chart still functions just like the original version of this. It doesn't show the meals here, but it shows you in a more zoomed out way all the different tables and who is seated where. And all the information for this tab populates based on what is included over here. The next tab that I've made some pretty significant changes to is the wedding budget tab. After I launched the original version of the spreadsheet, I wanted to figure out if there was a way to streamline this wedding budget tab even more while still having very detailed tracking of exactly where your money's going. So I finally figured out a layout and I'm so excited to share it with you. So first of all, let's go through what's in this old version of the planner. First, we have this sidebar, which is pretty much the same as the new version, just in a slightly different layout. And then over here, we have 3 different tables. We have a table for one-time payments, we have a table for multi-payment expenses, and we have a table for payments for the multi-payment expenses. So while all worked well and was broken down, I really wanted to streamline this even more. We have the sidebar, we have the vendor contracts and payments, which is where you'll add any vendor payments or expenses where you'll need to do multiple payments. And then over here, we have one all payments section, and this all payments section is going to house all the payments for both the vendors and any other one-time payments that you have. So for example, if you are paying for your wedding venue and you need to do, let's say, 3 different payments for it, you'll add these payments in here. Each of those payments will then be added into this vendors area so you can see how much you've paid, how much you have left to pay, and even your last payment and next payment. However, you're also going to add any one-time expenses over here, such as if you go get your nails done or you buy wedding shoes. Those are things that you want to keep track of, but that might not necessarily fall under a vendor. All of your payments, whether they're for vendors or one-time payments, will update in your budget area over here. So let's break it down. First, you're going to add in any funds that you have for your wedding over here. Once you do that, you'll see the total number of funds that you have to work with. In this section down here, you're going to add in all of your expense categories and budgets. So for example, I've just labeled these category 1, 2, 3, and 4, but you could have these be things like your venue, your photography and videography, miscellaneous, beauty-related things such as getting your nails done or hair trials. And these are categories that will go for both your vendors and for any one-time payments. Once you've added in your expense categories and budgets, the rest of these columns are automated and will automatically update as you add in your transactions. In the vendor contracts area, you can add in any different vendor payments that you have. As you can see here, once your vendor payment is complete, a check will appear here, and if you have this button selected, it will highlight just like this so you can see that it is completed and there's no outstanding payments. However, if you would like to, you can easily check this checkbox right here and that coloring will disappear. However, I like to include it just so you can see visually what needs to be paid and what does not need to be paid. As you're adding in vendors, you can add in the vendor name, the category, which is from this area over here. You'll just select from the drop-down the category that goes with the vendor. You'll add in a total cost and then any notes over here. These darker columns over here are completely automated and you don't need to add anything into them. Now moving over to the all payments area, here you can add in your payment details. You can add in a due date for a payment, which is completely optional. You do not need to do this, but if you do add in a date, then those payments will be added in to your smart calendar. So again, it's completely optional. What you do need to add in is your date paid, and then you can add in a description for the payment, the total cost. You can check it off once it has been paid, the method, which is based on what you input in the Start tab, who the payment was made by, and then here you're going to select whether it is for a vendor or it is just a one-time payment. If you select a vendor, then in this allocate payment to vendor section, you're just going to select from the drop-down which vendor it goes to, and the category for that vendor will automatically appear. If it's a one-time payment, you can select one time from the drop-down, and since you won't need to allocate the payment to any vendor, you can select the category for this one-time payment over here. These shadings make it super easy to see where you need to select the drop-down from. As you may see, we also have a filter over here, so you can sort and filter all of your payments right in this tab. You can view payments by one type or vendor, you can sort by due date or by date paid. There's so many different ways that you can sort this. And this is all to help you keep track of your different payments, when they were made, how much they cost, any different thing that you would like to see. Since you're able to sort and filter all your payments directly in the budget tab, I've removed the all payments tab, which was this tab that was in the original spreadsheet. I think it's so much easier to sort and filter all your payments directly in one place. And here you can do it much more seamlessly and view the data in any way you'd like. And that is it for adding in each of your payments. It's actually incredibly simple, and I'm so excited for you all to use it because I think you'll get such detailed breakdowns of exactly where your money and budget are. And of course, as you add in your payments over here, then these charts at the top will all automatically update for you. And that is it for how to use the new budget tab. The last tab that I've added into this new version of the spreadsheet is this basic checklist tab. Is exactly what it says. Some very basic checklists that I think can be really helpful when planning. I realized that I wanted to add in just a very basic form of a checklist because, as you may know, I do have this timeline checklist right here, which has breakdowns based on the time of your planning. But I also wanted some simple to-do lists. For example, you can include one of just all the tiny little tasks that you need to get done. And as you check them off, the progress bar will update and they'll become crossed off. If you need to add any more rows to this tab, you can easily just select some rows, right click and click insert however many rows above, and then you can just use them as normal and all your numbers will still update accurately. One important thing to note about this tab is that none of these tasks are added into the smart calendar. With the timeline checklist, you're able to add in a specific and these deadlines will then populate in the smart calendar. But this is just a much simplified checklist for random thoughts, tiny details, or whatever planning you need to do. And that is it for all the updates to my wedding planning spreadsheet in the 2.0 version. I'm so excited for you all to use this new version of the wedding planning spreadsheet, and I truly hope that you love it and that it really helps you with your wedding planning. If you have any questions at all, please be sure to reach out to me and I'm more than happy to help. And if you haven't grabbed a copy of this spreadsheet yet, I'll be leaving a link in the description box below so you can grab one. Thanks for watching and I hope you enjoy.